Have you ever felt that solitude offers a deeper sense of freedom than the constant presence of others? As we journey through life, especially in our later years, the idea of living alone can transform from a daunting thought to a liberating choice. In this video, we'll explore the key signs that living alone might bring you more joy, peace, and contentment than ever before. Stay with us until the end to discover actionable insights and heartfelt stories that can help you make the best decision for your happiness and well-being. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1, you value peace more than ever. As we journey through the stages of life, our values, needs, and priorities inevitably shift. One of the most profound and beautiful changes I've seen, both in myself and others, is the growing appreciation for peace. It's not something we might have thought about much in our younger years when life seemed to be in constant motion, busy days filled with family, work, and a flurry of social obligations. But as we age, we begin to yearn for something different, something deeper. The once welcome noise of a bustling household, the energy of family gatherings, and the lively chaos of day-to-day life may start to feel overwhelming. That's when the craving for peace and solitude begins to speak to our soul. It's so easy to underestimate just how valuable peace can be until we've lived through years of noise, activity, and endless obligations. I think of how we spend much of our lives surrounded by others' children, partners, colleagues, neighbors, and while those connections are incredibly meaningful, they can also be draining. The constant movement and noise can feel like a whirlwind, leaving little room for reflection, personal growth, or even simple rest. For many of us, there comes a time when we find ourselves craving silence, not because we want to escape our loved ones, but because we need to reconnect with ourselves. Margaret, a woman in her early 60s, shared a story that captures this feeling so well. She opened up on a forum about her growing need for solitude, and her words hit home for me, and I'm sure for countless others. I love my grandchildren, but the constant noise and energy in the house were draining me. When they left, I was relieved to have my space back. That's when I knew I needed to live alone permanently. Margaret's story is a perfect example of how this shift in priorities can emerge so naturally. It's not that we stop loving those around us. In fact, the love remains as strong as ever, but our need for space and peace becomes more pronounced as we seek balance and quietude in our lives. The thought of having a space where you can rest, reflect, and simply be without interruption becomes increasingly appealing. I resonate so deeply with Margaret's experience. There's something incredibly comforting about walking into a quiet home after a long day, feeling the silence settle around you like a soft blanket. It's in those moments that you truly appreciate solitude, not as a form of loneliness, but as a form of self-care. You start to treasure the opportunity to sit in stillness, to think without distractions, and to reconnect with yourself on a deeper level. The house takes on a new kind of warmth, one that doesn't come from the presence of others, but from the peace it provides. It's in those moments that you can breathe more deeply, hear your thoughts more clearly, and feel a sense of calm wash over you. If you're finding yourself savoring these quiet moments more often, if there's a sense of relief when the house finally empties and you're left alone with your thoughts, it could be a sign that you're in a new chapter of life. There's no shame in embracing that. I would say it's a natural progression, one that reflects your evolving needs and desires. After years of giving so much to others, raising children, supporting partners, caring for friends and family, perhaps it's time to give yourself the gift of peace. Choosing to live alone, to cultivate a space that is truly your own, can be an incredibly empowering decision. It's not about shutting people out. It's about creating an environment that nurtures your spirit and allows you to recharge. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Imagine having a home that is your sanctuary, a place where the outside world fades away, and all that's left is the soothing stillness that wraps you in calm. There's a special kind of joy that comes from being able to control your environment, from knowing that your home is a reflection of your inner peace. No more rushing to meet the demands of others, no more constant interruptions. Instead, you have the freedom to move at your own pace, to fill your days with moments that nourish your soul, whether that means reading a book in quiet, sipping tea by the window, or simply sitting in silence and allowing your thoughts to drift. In my opinion, this growing need for peace is not just a fleeting desire, it's a reflection of a deeper, more fundamental shift in how we see ourselves and our lives. When we start valuing peace over the hustle and bustle, it's because we've realized that true fulfillment doesn't come from external noise, but from internal harmony. Living alone in a peaceful space allows us to cultivate that harmony. It's a chance to focus on our well-being, to listen to the quiet wisdom of our hearts, and to nurture ourselves in ways that may have been neglected for far too long. I believe that there's something truly transformative about embracing this stage of life. It's an acknowledgement that we deserve to prioritize ourselves and that our need for peace is valid and important. Living alone can be an act of self-love, a way of creating a space where calm and stillness are not just welcome, but cherished. It's about permitting yourself to step away from the noise, to find solace in the quiet, and to discover the joy that comes from being at peace with yourself. So if you find yourself yearning for those quiet moments more than ever, if the idea of coming home to an empty, peaceful house fills you with a sense of relief and contentment, perhaps it's time to listen to that voice inside. It's telling you that you deserve a life filled with calm, with moments of stillness where you can simply be. Living alone, in a space that is your own, might just be the key to unlocking the peace and serenity your soul is craving. And in that peace, you will find not just rest, but renewal. Number 2, you enjoy your own company. As the years pass and life evolves, something magical begins to happen. You start to truly enjoy your own company in a way that perhaps you didn't when you were younger. In a world that often pushes us to be social and to constantly surround ourselves with others, finding peace in solitude becomes a gift. You begin to realize that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It's quite the opposite. You start to cherish those moments when it's just you, whether you're engaged in a hobby, quietly reflecting on your day, or simply sitting in the stillness of a peaceful afternoon. That sense of fulfillment and contentment with yourself is a powerful sign that living alone might be the perfect way to embrace this chapter of your life. I believe that as we grow older, our relationship with ourselves deepens. We start to value the time we spend alone, not because we don't enjoy the company of others, but because we've learned to appreciate the peace that comes with solitude. You might find yourself turning to activities that you can enjoy solo, whether it's gardening, reading, painting, or simply walking in nature. These activities allow you to connect with yourself on a deeper level, free from the noise and demands of the outside world. And that's an incredibly empowering realization, that your own company is more than enough to bring you joy and fulfillment. A beautiful example of this shift in perspective comes from a 70-year-old man who shared his story on a forum. He spoke about his newfound love for gardening, and his words struck a chord with so many. When I'm out in my garden, it's just me and the earth. I don't need anyone to talk to. I find peace in the quiet rhythm of my day. He described how, in those peaceful moments, he realized something profound. I don't need a roommate or a family around constantly to feel fulfilled. His story is a perfect reflection of how embracing solitude can lead to a deeper sense of inner peace. For him, the garden became a sanctuary, a place where he could connect with the earth, with nature, and ultimately with himself. I find this idea incredibly liberating. The thought that you can find joy, peace, and fulfillment simply by being with yourself is such a beautiful and empowering realization. It's a reminder that we don't always need the presence of others to feel complete. There's something so soothing about knowing that you can create your happiness, that you can fill your days with activities and moments at Tagdies. Whether it's a quiet morning spent sipping coffee while watching the sunrise, or an afternoon devoted to a hobby you love, these are the moments where you can truly honor the relationship you've built with yourself. I believe that learning to appreciate your own company is one of the most empowering experiences life has to offer. It's a reminder that you don't need to rely on others to feel fulfilled or to find meaning in your day. When you're comfortable being alone, you give yourself the freedom to explore your interests and to grow in ways that might not have been possible if you were constantly surrounded by others. Living alone gives you the space to honor that solitude, embrace it, and use it as a way to nurture your soul. For me, there's a special kind of peace that comes with knowing that I don't need anyone else to complete my day. It's not about rejecting relationships or cutting yourself off from others, but about understanding that your own company is enough. You begin to value those quiet moments of reflection where you can simply sit with your thoughts and feel at ease. You find joy in the little things, whether it's working in your garden, getting lost in a good book, or simply spending time with your thoughts. These are the moments where you can truly connect with yourself on a deeper level. Living alone can offer you the perfect environment to continue exploring and nurturing that connection. It gives you the freedom to create a space that is entirely yours, where you can follow your rhythm and your desires, without the pressure of accommodating someone else's needs or schedules. You can wake up when you want, go to bed when you want, and fill your days with activities that bring you peace and joy. There's something incredibly freeing about being able to structure your life in a way that serves you and only you. In my opinion, this ability to find joy in your own company is a testament to the strength and growth you've experienced over the years. It's a sign that you've learned to trust yourself, to value your presence, and to embrace the peace that comes from within. Living alone is not just a practical decision, it's a way to honor that relationship with yourself, to give yourself the space and freedom to continue nurturing your soul in whatever way feels right. So, if you find yourself enjoying your own company more and more, if you're content spending time alone and no longer feel the need to fill your days with the presence of others, it might be time to consider embracing that solitude more fully. Living alone doesn't mean isolating yourself, it means allowing yourself to create a deeply fulfilling life. One where you can continue to grow, reflect, and find peace in the quiet rhythm of your day. And in that solitude, you'll discover that your own company is not just enough, it's more than enough. Number 3, you have strong boundaries and prioritize your well-being. As we grow older, life has a way of teaching us the importance of boundaries, both physical and emotional. Many of us spend years, perhaps even decades, accommodating the needs of others, often sacrificing our comfort and well-being for the sake of family, friends, or work. But with age comes wisdom, and part of that wisdom is realizing that your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. This realization leads to the development of strong boundaries, which are crucial for maintaining a sense of peace and fulfillment. You start to understand that you're no longer willing to compromise on what brings you joy and stability. And this might be a powerful indicator that living alone could be the key to preserving your well-being. There's something truly liberating about reaching a point in life where you no longer feel the need to say yes to everything and everyone. You begin to recognize what you need to thrive, whether that's a peaceful home, a quiet environment, or simply the freedom to follow your schedule without being pulled in 1,000 different directions. Setting boundaries is not about shutting others out. It's about creating a safe space where your emotional, mental, and physical well-being can flourish. And living alone is one of the best ways to ensure that those boundaries are respected. I often think of Liz's story, which I came across in the comments section of an online video. Liz, a woman in her mid-60s, talked about how sharing her space with her adult daughter and grandchildren became increasingly difficult over time. In her words, "I love them dearly, but they were constantly crossing boundaries, leaving the house messy, making noise late at night, and I was starting to lose my sense of peace." Her love for her family was never in question, but she realized that the constant disruptions were taking a toll on her emotional and mental well-being. Liz had given so much of herself for so many years, but now she recognized that it was time to prioritize her own needs. I think Liz's story resonates with so many of us because it reflects a universal truth: you can love others deeply while still needing space to take care of yourself. There's no shame in acknowledging that your well-being deserves to take center stage, especially after years of putting others first. Learning to say no when your boundaries are crossed is an act of self-care. It's a way of honoring yourself and recognizing that you, too, deserve peace and stability. For Liz, living alone was the solution that allowed her to regain that sense of peace, creating a sanctuary where her boundaries were respected and her well-being could flourish once again. I find this idea of setting strong boundaries incredibly empowering. It's a reminder that self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. When you live alone, you have full control over your environment. You decide what enters your space, what energy surrounds you, and how your days unfold. There's no need to worry about other schedules, messes, or demands. You can create a home that is truly yours, where every corner reflects your desire for peace, order, and comfort. And perhaps most importantly, you're in a space where your emotional and mental well-being is prioritized above all else. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. Living alone doesn't mean you love your family or friends any less. It doesn't mean you're isolating yourself or cutting ties with the people who matter most to you. It simply means that you've recognized the importance of creating a space where your needs are honored. We all need boundaries to protect our peace, and living alone offers the perfect environment to uphold those boundaries without feeling guilty or selfish. For me, the idea of living alone represents the ultimate act of self-respect. It's a way of saying, I matter. My well-being matters. My peace of mind matters. When you live alone, you're giving yourself the freedom to create a life that supports your mental, emotional, and physical health. You don't have to deal with the noise, the mess, or the constant demands of others. You're free to set the tone for your days, to follow your rhythms, and to protect your boundaries without fear of conflict or compromise. Liz's story is just one example of how powerful it can be to prioritize your own needs. She realized that, although she loved her family, living with them was no longer serving her. The constant disruptions, the lack of personal space, and the crossed boundaries were chipping away at her sense of peace. By choosing to live alone, Liz created a sanctuary where her needs were finally at the forefront. She no longer had to sacrifice her well-being for the sake of others, and that decision transformed her life. Number 4, you're ready for more control over your space and time. As the years pass, the desire for greater control over our surroundings and daily routine often becomes an undeniable need. Perhaps you've spent most of your life sharing space with others, whether it's with family, a spouse, or roommates. While those relationships are filled with love and meaning, they often come with compromises that can gradually wear on you. There comes a time when you might realize that you no longer want to negotiate over the little things, and you're ready to fully take charge of how your space looks, how your time is spent, and the overall flow of your day. This is a moment of personal awakening that many people experience later in life, and it's a powerful signal that you're ready for the freedom that comes with living alone. Control over your space is more than just being able to choose where the furniture goes or what color the walls should be. It's about creating an environment that truly reflects your tastes, your rhythms, and your preferences. Living with others, no matter how much you love them, often means accommodating their needs and habits. Maybe they're early risers while you cherish those quiet morning hours in bed, or perhaps they prefer a cluttered home when you thrive in a tidy, minimalist space. These small but significant differences can become daily sources of tension, especially as you grow older and feel more secure in your desires. I think of a comment once read on a forum from someone who experienced this shift firsthand. They wrote, "I was 65 when I realized I was tired of compromising on everything: what time we had dinner, how clean the house should be, what shows we watched. I love my family, but but I wanted to live on my terms. Living alone gave me that freedom. That sentiment captures so much of what it means to take control of your life as you age. It's not about cutting ties with loved ones or distancing yourself from relationships that matter. It's about recognizing that, at this stage in life, you've earned the right to dictate how your days unfold, without the need for constant negotiation or compromise. For me, the thought of having full control over my space and time feels like a breath of fresh air. Imagine waking up in the morning and knowing that the day is entirely yours to shape. You don't have to consider anyone else's schedule, preferences, or routines. You can start your day exactly the way you want, whether that means enjoying a leisurely breakfast in silence, turning up your favorite music, or spending a quiet afternoon reading in a perfectly organized living room. Every choice, from the smallest detail to the biggest decision, is yours to make, and that kind of freedom is incredibly empowering. When you live alone, you gain the ability to create an environment that truly nourishes your soul. Maybe you've always wanted to design a home office that's perfectly tailored to your work and hobbies, or perhaps you long for a space filled with natural light and plants, where you can relax and recharge. Living alone gives you the power to make those dreams a reality without having to take anyone else's opinions or preferences into account. You can decorate in a way that reflects your style, arrange your furniture however you like, and even choose to keep your space as tidy or as lived in as you prefer. It's all about creating a space that makes you feel comfortable, happy, and at peace. And it's not just about controlling the physical space, it's about how you manage your time as well. When you live with others, your schedule is often influenced by their needs and routines. Dinner might have to happen at a certain time. TV shows and movies are a group decision, and household chores are shared responsibilities. But when you live alone, you have the freedom to design a daily routine that works perfectly for you. Whether you're a night owl who loves to stay up late or an early riser who treasures the quiet hours of the morning, living alone allows you to honor those rhythms without having to compromise. You get to decide when to eat, when to clean, when to relax, and when to socialize. I believe this kind of autonomy becomes even more valuable as we get older. After years of caring for others, whether that's raising children, supporting a partner, or being a part of a larger family, there's something deeply refreshing about being able to focus entirely on your own needs and desires. You've spent so much time ensuring everyone else is taken care of, and now it's your turn to prioritize yourself. Living alone offers the perfect opportunity to do just that, to create a life where your comfort, your peace, and your well-being are the top priority. One of the most beautiful aspects of living alone is that it allows you to live on your terms, without apology or explanation. You get to decide when and how you invite others into your space. Maybe you want to host a dinner for friends once a month, or perhaps you prefer to keep your home a quiet sanctuary, where guests are only invited for special occasions. That choice is entirely yours. Living alone means you no longer have to compromise your boundaries or your preferences to accommodate someone else's lifestyle. You have the freedom to decide when you want company and when you'd rather enjoy the peaceful solitude of your own space. Number 5, you've outgrown the need to care for others full-time. But there comes a time, often quietly, sometimes unexpectedly, when you feel a shift within yourself. It's a moment of awakening, where you begin to sense that maybe, just maybe, it's time to turn your focus inward. This doesn't mean that the love and care you have for your family or those you've supported diminishes. Far from it. It simply means that, after pouring so much of yourself into the well-being of others, you're starting to recognize the deep, unmet need to care for yourself. And that realization can be as profound as it is empowering. For so long, your identity may have been tied to the roles you played: mother, father, spouse, caregiver, and the idea of stepping away from that responsibility might have once seemed unimaginable. After all, what would life be like if you weren't constantly caring for others? Would there still be a sense of purpose, of belonging? These are the questions that swirl around in the mind of anyone who has been a caretaker for a significant portion of their life. But slowly, the answer begins to take shape. Yes, there is purpose, and it's found in the freedom to finally rediscover you, the person you were before the obligations, before the constant need to put others first. In a Reddit thread where people were discussing the emotional weight of this transition, one woman shared a story that was both heartbreaking and empowering. After the passing of her husband, she came to a realization that changed everything. I realized I didn't want to take on the role of caretaker for anyone else. I love my family, but for the first time I felt this undeniable pull to focus on my own needs and desires. It's not that I don't care about them, but I finally permitted myself to care about them. It's liberating to put myself first after all these years. Her story strikes a chord with so many who have spent a lifetime in service to others, often at the expense of their dreams and desires. It's not just about physical care, it's about the emotional and mental weight that comes with always being the one others rely on. The decision to step back from that, to live alone, isn't about rejecting those you love. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself that might have been lost or overlooked in the years spent caring for everyone else. Living alone after so much time in the thick of caregiving can feel like a breath of fresh air. It's a chance to finally experience life at your own pace, on your terms. For many, it's the first time in decades that they can wake up in the morning and ask themselves, what do I want today? That simple question holds a world of possibility. Maybe you'll pick up that hobby you've always been too busy for. Maybe you'll focus on your health, physical, mental, emotional, and allow yourself the time and space to heal and grow. Or Maybe you'll simply enjoy the peace, the stillness that comes from no longer having to juggle the needs of others. It's not always an easy transition. The habits of caregiving run deep, and there may be moments of guilt, of second-guessing whether it's okay to prioritize yourself. But it's important to remember that self-care is not selfish. You've spent so long caring for others, now it's your turn. Living alone allows you to truly be with yourself, to nurture the parts of you that have been set aside for so long. You deserve that space. You deserve to rediscover who you are when the constant demands of caregiving are no longer at the forefront. For some, this shift may come after a major life event, such as the loss of a loved one or children leaving the nest. For others, it might be a gradual realization, a quiet knowing that builds over time. Either way, it's a deeply personal and emotional journey, one that often brings with it a sense of liberation. It's about finding joy in the everyday moments again, about waking up to the beauty of life that was once overshadowed by responsibility. And while this chapter may be marked by solitude, it doesn't mean isolation. Many who choose to live alone find that they are more connected to themselves and the world around them than ever before. Without the constant pull of caregiving, there's room to explore new relationships, to deepen existing ones in ways that feel more balanced and fulfilling. You can choose how and when to give of yourself, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. That, in itself, is a gift. The journey of rediscovering yourself after years of caregiving is not just about living alone, it's about living freely, fully, and authentically. It's about permitting yourself to be the priority, to indulge in your passions, to rest when you need to, and to grow in ways that perhaps were never possible before. It's a chapter of life filled with potential, and though it may come with its challenges, it also holds the promise of self-discovery and renewal. So, if you've reached this point where the need to care for others has faded and the desire to care for yourself has blossomed, embrace it. It's okay to step back. It's okay to choose you. After all the years of nurturing others, you deserve to nurture yourself. And that is not just okay, it's necessary for your well-being and your future happiness. Number 6, you want to age on your own terms. As we grow older, the notion of aging becomes less about the passage of time and more about how we spend that time. It's not just about adding years to life, but about adding life to those years on your terms, with your own rules. To age on your terms means embracing the independence you've spent a lifetime building and preserving. It's about wanting to make your own choices, no matter how big or small, without feeling like you're being micromanaged by those around you. This isn't just about physical space, but mental and emotional space as well. It's the freedom to wake up in the morning knowing that the decisions you make are truly yours, guided by your desires and needs, not by the expectations or worries of others. Many people as they age come to realize that living alone doesn't necessarily equate to being lonely or isolated. Instead, it can be a profound declaration of self-respect and empowerment. It's the understanding that solitude can be enriching, offering clarity, peace, and the ability to move at your own pace. Being alone can provide the space to reflect on life's experiences, enjoy the quiet moments of contemplation, and continue growing in ways that only solitude allows. There is something deeply fulfilling in having a space that is solely yours, a space where you can cultivate the atmosphere that best suits your evolving needs, whether that's filling your home with cherished mementos, creating cozy corners for reading and relaxation, or arranging your day around the rhythms that bring you joy. The story of one elderly man captures this sentiment perfectly. He left a heartfelt comment on an online forum, sharing his thoughts on aging alone. His words were filled with both wisdom and a longing to preserve his sense of agency. I want to decide when and how I ask for help. I don't want my children or anyone hovering over me all the time. I'm capable of making my own decisions for myself, and living alone allows me to maintain that independence. These words resonate with many who feel the same way. There's an unspoken fear, not of growing older, but of being stripped of the autonomy that has defined their lives. His message reflects the universal human desire to be trusted, respected, and allowed to navigate life's later stages with dignity. When we think about aging on our terms, it's not about rejecting help or pushing others away. Instead, it's about being in control of how and when you seek assistance. It's about feeling empowered to determine what kind of support you need and when you need it. Perhaps today you feel perfectly capable of managing all aspects of daily life. Perhaps tomorrow you might need a little help, but the key is that the choice remains yours. You can decide when to reach out, rather than having others decide for you, and that distinction makes all the difference in preserving your sense of independence. There's a sense of freedom that comes with this approach to aging. It allows you to create a home environment that reflects your personality and caters to your needs. When you live on your own, you can design your life in a way that makes you feel comfortable, safe, and content. Whether that means surrounding yourself with peace or engaging in hobbies that bring you joy, you have the freedom to set the pace. You're not at the mercy of anyone else's schedule or expectations, and that autonomy can be incredibly empowering. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Many people fear that as they age, they will lose control over their lives. They worry that others will start making decisions for them, assuming they can no longer think or act for themselves. But the truth is, many older adults are more than capable of managing their lives well into their later years. Living alone doesn't have to mean isolation. Instead, It can be an intentional decision to maintain the independence that has always been so important. It's a way of saying, I'm still here, I'm still capable, I still know what's best for me. Living on your terms also allows you to build a support system on your terms. You decide who to invite into your life, and you determine the kind of relationships you want to nurture. You have the freedom to foster connections with others, whether that's through close friendships, family ties, or community involvement, all while maintaining the level of personal space and independence that feels right for you. When the time comes that you might need more help, you can choose when and how to ask for it. You're in control of the process, and that's what makes aging on your terms so powerful. Instead of feeling like a burden to others or like you're losing your sense of self, you retain the ability to make decisions about your care and well-being. This gives you a sense of control over your future, knowing that even when you do need support, it will be on your terms, not because someone else has stepped in to make decisions for you. For those who value independence, aging on your terms is a deeply meaningful choice. It's about reclaiming the narrative of your life and continuing to live in a way that honors who you are. It's about choosing freedom over dependency, autonomy over control, and self-determination over passivity. There's something incredibly empowering about knowing that, even as the years go by, you are still the one steering your ship. That sense of freedom is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself as you age. In a world that often tries to tell us what aging should look like, there's something profoundly liberating about saying, I'll do it my way. Aging on your terms is not just a lifestyle choice. It's a declaration of independence, a statement of self-worth, and a celebration of the strength that comes from living life authentically, right up to the very end. Number 7, you're ready for a fresh start. Living alone in your later years can symbolize much more than just a change in scenery. It can represent an entirely new chapter of life, one that's brimming with possibility, renewal, and personal growth. After years of following routines, meeting obligations, or perhaps even putting others' needs before your own, there comes a moment when you might feel the need to start anew. This fresh beginning is not just about where you live, it's about who you want to be, what you want to experience, and how you want to shape your life going forward. There's something deeply invigorating about the idea of reinventing yourself, no matter your age. Perhaps you've reached a stage in life where you're no longer bound by the same responsibilities or commitments that once guided your daily actions. Maybe you've experienced loss or significant change, like the passing of a loved one, and staying in the same place or continuing the same routines no longer feels right. It's in these moments that the desire for a fresh start can spark a new sense of purpose, and living alone can be the perfect way to embrace this newfound freedom. One man, at the age of 67, shared his heartfelt story in an online forum. He reflected on the immense shift in his life after the loss of his wife. I'd been living in the same house for over 30 years. After my wife passed, I realized that staying in the same place with the same routines wasn't what I wanted. I downsized to a small apartment, started taking art classes, and living alone gave me the fresh start I needed. His story is a poignant reminder that it's never too late to redefine your life, and that taking control of your surroundings can open doors you never thought possible. This man's journey of finding joy in something as simple and beautiful as art classes is a testament to the endless possibilities that come with the start. He chose to step out of the shadow of his past and into the light of a new, fulfilling future. His decision to downsize, embrace solitude, and try new things wasn't just about moving to a smaller place, it was about making room for a new version of himself, one that wasn't tied to the routines of the past. For many older adults, this kind of fresh start is exactly what they need. Maybe you've spent decades raising a family, working tirelessly, or caring for others, and now, it's time to focus on you. Living alone can be the space where you rediscover who you are and what truly makes you happy. It's about finding peace in your own company, having the freedom to decorate your space however you like, and waking up each day with the excitement of being able to fill your time with whatever you choose. The idea of starting fresh can be both exhilarating and intimidating. There might be moments of uncertainty or even fear about what lies ahead, but there's also a deep sense of liberation. No longer are you bound by the expectations or routines that have shaped your past. You can wake up each morning and decide, today I'm going to try something new, whether it's a new hobby, like painting, gardening, or writing, or simply the act of rearranging your living space to better reflect who you are now. The possibilities are endless. This fresh start isn't just a physical change, it's emotional and spiritual as well. Living alone can offer the quiet you need to reflect on your life so far and decide how you want to live the rest of it. You have the opportunity to slow down, breathe, and listen to your inner voice without the noise of others' expectations. It's a time to nurture your interests, explore passions that perhaps you've kept on the back burner for years, and discover new ones that bring you joy and fulfillment. For some, this may be the first time in their lives that they're truly able to prioritize themselves. There's no guilt in that this is your time to blossom, to rewrite the narrative of your life, and to do it in a way that feels authentic to you. Perhaps you've always dreamed of traveling more, picking up a new skill, or even just spending more time with yourself in a space that feels like home. Living alone offers you the canvas to paint your future however you see fit. It's never too late to embrace a fresh start. The beauty of life is that it's full of opportunities for reinvention. No matter how old we are or what we've been through. You don't have to settle for the same old routines if they no longer serve you. Living alone gives you the space to create a life that aligns with who you are now, not who you were decades ago. It allows you to craft your days around your desires, explore what brings you peace, and nurture a sense of fulfillment that may have been missing. In the end, living alone isn't about cutting yourself off from the world. It's about stepping into your world with confidence and purpose. It's about reclaiming your sense of self and creating a life that reflects your dreams, your joys, and your passions. Whether it's downsizing to a smaller, cozier space like the man who found joy in art classes, or simply rearranging your current surroundings to better fit your current lifestyle, the act of living alone can be the fresh start that ignites the next beautiful chapter of your life. So, if you're feeling ready for a fresh start, trust that it's not only possible, but it can be incredibly rewarding. Living alone can be the perfect opportunity to rediscover yourself, explore new interests, and build the life you truly want on your terms. The freedom, the space, and the independence you gain are not just luxuries, but gifts that allow you to live authentically, embrace change, and continue growing, no matter where life takes you next. Number 8, you're craving minimalism and simplicity. As the years go by, many of us begin to feel the pull toward a simpler existence, one that is free from the chaos, clutter, and overwhelming busyness that may have once defined our lives. This desire for minimalism often grows stronger with age as we start to see the beauty in less and the peace that comes from having fewer distractions. You may find yourself looking around at your current living situation, realizing that it's filled with things that no longer serve you or reflect who you are now. The thought of downsizing and living a life of simplicity might suddenly feel like a path to serenity, and this could be a clear sign that living alone is exactly what you need. Minimalism isn't just about getting rid of physical possessions, it's about creating a space and a life that aligns with your deepest values and allows you to focus on what truly matters. It's about shedding the weight of unnecessary obligations, outdated routines, and material things that no longer bring you joy. Imagine walking into a home that feels calm, uncluttered, and full of intention. There's a sense of peace in knowing that everything you keep around you has a purpose, whether it's a cherished book, a well-loved chair, or the quiet moments you carve out for yourself each day. There's a particularly powerful story about a woman in her 70s who made the courageous decision to embrace minimalism, and her words speak to the liberation that comes from simplifying your life. I realized that I was holding on to so many things that no longer served me: old furniture, memorabilia, even relationships that drained me. Once I moved into my own space, I embraced a simpler way of life: fewer possessions, fewer obligations, and more time to focus on what truly matters. Her story is one of transformation, a reminder that no matter where we are in life, we have the power to let go of what weighs us down and create a life that feels lighter, more intentional, and more aligned with our true selves. The process of decluttering, both physically and emotionally, can be deeply therapeutic. It's not just about cleaning out a closet or downsizing to a smaller home. It's about clearing space in your mind and your heart for the things that bring you genuine fulfillment. Living alone allows you to curate your environment in a way that reflects who you are today, not who you were decades ago. Perhaps you're holding on to items that no longer hold meaning, or maybe you've been maintaining relationships or commitments out of habit rather than joy. Minimalism invites you to ask the question, does this still serve me? And to have the courage to let go of what doesn't. For many, the act of simplifying their lives brings a profound sense of clarity and peace. With fewer possessions to manage, fewer obligations to meet, and fewer distractions to pull you away from what truly matters, you're left with space, both literal and metaphorical, to breathe, to reflect, and to be present. You can finally focus on what nourishes your soul, whether that's spending more time in nature, picking up a hobby you've always loved, or simply enjoying the quiet moments of solitude that living alone provides. Minimalism also encourages mindfulness. When you're not constantly surrounded by clutter, you can be more intentional about how you spend your time and energy. You can wake up each day knowing that your space is a reflection of your values, and you can devote your attention to the people, activities, and experiences that truly enrich your life. There's an elegance and simplicity, a sense of freedom in knowing that you don't need to fill your home or your life with excess to feel complete. Living alone offers the perfect environment to explore this minimalist way of life. You can create a space that is uniquely yours, free from the compromises that often come with shared living arrangements. You get to decide how much or how little you want in your home. Maybe you want to fill your shelves with just a few treasured books or create a cozy corner for reading and reflecting. Perhaps you're drawn to the idea of minimal decor, where each piece you own serves a purpose and brings you joy. Whatever simplicity looks like for you, living alone gives you the freedom to design your space and your life in a way that brings you peace and contentment. There's something deeply empowering about stepping away from the busyness and complexity of modern life and choosing to focus on what matters. It takes courage to let go of the things we've been told we should hold on to, whether it's material possessions, old relationships, or outdated expectations of how life should look. But by embracing minimalism and simplicity, you're giving yourself the gift of clarity. You're making room for what truly matters, and in doing so, you're creating a life that feels lighter, more purposeful, and deeply fulfilling. If you find yourself craving simplicity, and the thought of living with less feels like a breath of fresh air, it may be time to consider living alone. This new chapter in your life can be an opportunity to not only declutter your physical space, but also to free your mind and heart from the burdens that no longer serve you. In a world that often equates more with better, minimalism teaches us that sometimes less is exactly what we need to feel whole. Living alone can offer you the chance to live intentionally, to create a space that reflects your values, and to focus on the things that bring you peace. It's about choosing quality over quantity, whether that's in the possessions you keep, the relationships you maintain, or the way you spend your time. By simplifying your life, you're not just clearing out clutter, you're making room for joy, for presence, and for the things that matter most. And that, in itself, is a gift worth embracing. Number 9, you want to make your own decisions without compromise. As an older adult, you've likely spent decades of your life balancing the needs and preferences of others, whether it was with a partner, your children, roommates, or even extended family. You've learned the art of compromise perhaps too well. For years, your decisions may have been shaped by the expectations of those around you, whether it was something as simple as choosing what to eat for dinner, or as significant as making decisions about vacations, homes, or finances. While compromise is often necessary for harmonious relationships, it can sometimes leave you feeling like you've lost a part of yourself in the process. If you're now at a point in life where you crave the freedom to make choices without the constant need to negotiate or accommodate someone else's preferences, this could be a clear sign that living alone is the right path for you. Imagine waking up each day and knowing that every decision, from the smallest to the most significant, is entirely yours to make. That sense of autonomy, of being in control of your own life without having to seek approval or consensus from others, can be liberating. For many older adults, this newfound freedom is one of the most fulfilling aspects of living alone. It's not about being selfish or rejecting the idea of cooperation, but rather about reclaiming the ability to live your life according to your values, desires, and needs without compromise. One woman shared her story, reflecting on the liberation she felt after finally living life on her terms, free from decades of compromise. I always had to consider other people's preferences, from what we ate for dinner to where we went on vacation. Now I live alone, and I get to choose everything from the color of my walls to the music I listen to. It's liberating to make decisions based solely on my desires. Her words reflect a common experience for many who have spent much of their lives in relationships that required constant compromise. While those relationships may have brought love, companionship, and shared experiences, they may have also required a continual balancing act that didn't always allow room for personal autonomy. Living alone allows you to break free from that cycle of negotiation. It gives you the space to rediscover what truly makes you happy, without the pressure of considering someone else's opinion or adjusting your chore. And want to paint the walls a bold, vibrant color? Go for it. Prefer to spend your evenings listening to your favorite music or binge watching your favorite shows? The choice is entirely yours. From the food you eat to the pace of your day, living alone lets you create a life that is uniquely tailored to you. This level of autonomy can be deeply fulfilling because it's about more than just making decisions. It's about reconnecting with yourself and your preferences in a way that might have been lost during years of compromise. When you live alone, you don't have to navigate the complexities of differing opinions or shared responsibilities. You are free to make decisions that reflect your authentic self, without the need to justify your choices or worry about how they'll affect someone else. In many ways, this is an opportunity to reclaim parts of yourself that may have been set aside for the sake of others. It's a chance to revisit your passions, explore new interests, and create a living environment that feels like a true reflection of who you are today. After decades of putting others first, living alone allows you to prioritize yourself, to finally permit yourself to pursue the things that bring you joy without compromise. This doesn't mean that relationships or companionship aren't important. It simply means that you are choosing to prioritize your own needs in a way that hasn't always been possible before. When you live alone, you are in control of every aspect of your life, from the big decisions to the small details. You can decide what time you wake up, how you spend your days, and what kind of energy you want to bring into your home. This freedom to choose without having to take others' preferences into account can feel like a breath of fresh air. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 4 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Living alone also allows you to set boundaries in a way that may not have been possible before. You can invite people into your life on your terms, deciding when and how you want to spend time with others. You have the autonomy to choose who you let into your space and who you keep at a distance. This kind of boundary setting can be incredibly empowering, especially for those who have spent years navigating the needs and desires of others. The ability to make your own decisions without compromise can also lead to a deeper sense of self-awareness and personal growth. When you're not constantly adjusting your choices to fit someone else's expectations, you have the opportunity to explore your preferences more fully. You may discover new interests or rediscover old passions that you hadn't had the time or space to pursue in the past. Living alone gives you the freedom to explore these things at your own pace, without the need to check in with someone else or seek their approval. In a way, living alone is about reclaiming your identity. It's about recognizing that you deserve to make decisions that are in line with your values and desires. It's about understanding that, At this stage of life, you've earned the right to live on your terms. And that can be one of the most fulfilling and liberating experiences of all. If you're finding that compromise no longer feels necessary or fulfilling, and you're longing for a life where your decisions are entirely your own, living alone can offer you the freedom to do just that. It's a chance to take control of your own life, to make decisions that reflect who you truly are, and to create a living environment that brings you joy and peace. After years of compromise, living alone can feel like an exhilarating return to yourself, a chance to prioritize your own needs, desires, and happiness without apology. Number 10, you're ready for emotional independence. Emotional independence is not something that comes easily. It's often the result of years of personal growth, self-reflection, and learning how to navigate the complexities of life's ups and downs without relying on others to steady you. As you get older, you may begin to realize that the emotional crutches you once leaned on, whether it was a partner, your children, or close friends, are no longer necessary for your sense of stability. Instead, you've developed a deep, inner resilience that allows you to manage your emotions and find peace within yourself. This is a profound shift, and it's often a sign that you're ready to embrace the independence that living alone can offer. In today's world, it's easy to feel like emotional independence is undervalued. We're constantly told that we need companionship, connection, and support systems to feel whole. And while those things are important, they aren't always the key to emotional well-being. For many people, there comes a point in life where they realize that true emotional strength doesn't come from having someone by their side, it comes from within. It's about knowing that you can navigate your emotions, process your feelings, and handle life's challenges without needing constant validation or reassurance from others. One commenter in an online forum beautifully captured this transformation. For years, I always felt like I needed someone around me, whether it was my children or a partner, to feel emotionally stable. But over time, I learned to find that strength within myself. Living alone now is a joy because I trust in my emotional resilience. I can process my feelings, find peace, and I no longer need someone else's presence to feel okay. Her story is a reminder that emotional independence isn't about shutting others out. It's about cultivating a sense of inner strength and confidence that allows you to stand on your own 2 feet, no matter what life throws your way. Living alone can be the perfect environment to foster this kind of emotional independence. When you have your own space, free from the influence of others, you're able to explore your feelings on your terms. You can sit with your emotions, reflect on them, and process them in a way that feels authentic to you. There's no pressure to hide how you feel, and no need to consider how your emotions might affect someone else. You have the freedom to fully embrace your emotional journey, whether that means spending time in quiet contemplation, journaling, meditating, or simply allowing yourself to feel without judgment. For many, this level of emotional independence is incredibly liberating. It's a sign that you've reached a stage in life where you trust yourself completely. You no longer feel the need to seek out companionship to fill emotional gaps or rely on others to help you process difficult feelings. Instead, you've cultivated a deep well of emotional resilience that allows you to weather life's storms with grace and strength. And that's a beautiful thing. Emotional independence doesn't mean that you don't value relationships or connection. It simply means that you no longer need them to feel emotionally secure. You've learned to be your source of comfort, your cheerleader, and your support system. This kind of self-reliance can bring a deep sense of peace and contentment because you know that no matter what happens in your external world, you have the tools and the strength to handle it internally. Living alone can offer the perfect space to continue nurturing this emotional independence. Without the distractions of others, you have the opportunity to focus entirely on your well-being. You can create routines and practices that support your emotional health, whether that's through self-care rituals, mindfulness practices, or simply giving yourself the time and space to rest when you need it. You're in control of your emotional environment, and that can be incredibly healing. For those who have spent much of their lives relying on others for emotional stability, this shift toward independence can feel both strange and exhilarating. There may have been times when you felt like you couldn't face certain challenges without someone else by your side, or moments when you needed constant reassurance from loved ones to feel okay. But as you've grown older, you've realized that you are more than capable of handling life's emotional roller coaster, and that realization is incredibly empowering. Living alone can amplify this sense of empowerment. It gives you the space to be fully yourself, without the influence or opinions of others. You can create an environment that supports your emotional independence, whether that means having a quiet space to reflect, surrounding yourself with things that bring you peace, or simply enjoying the freedom to navigate your emotions without interruption. It's a space where you can truly thrive, emotionally and mentally, on your terms. This kind of emotional independence is a gift, one that many people spend their entire lives searching for. It's about finding strength within yourself, trusting your judgment, and knowing that you are capable of handling anything that comes your way. And when you live alone, you have the freedom to continue growing emotionally, without the need for external validation or support. It's a time for you to focus on your emotional journey, explore what makes you feel fulfilled, and create a life that is rooted in your sense of well-being. If you've reached a point where your emotional well-being is no longer dependent on others, and you feel confident in your ability to manage your emotions independently. Living alone can be an incredibly rewarding experience. It's an opportunity to continue cultivating your emotional strength, to find peace within yourself, and to thrive in a space that is entirely your own. Emotional independence is a powerful thing. It gives you the freedom to live life on your terms, and that is truly a joy worth embracing. Number 11, you want to focus on your personal growth and self-discovery. For many older adults, life has been filled with roles and responsibilities: parent, spouse, caregiver, or provider that demand time, attention, and energy. These roles, while meaningful, often leave little room for self-reflection or personal exploration. As you reach a stage where those roles begin to shift or fall away, you might feel a longing to rediscover who you are outside of those identities. Living alone can create the perfect environment to embark on this path of personal growth and self-discovery, giving you the time, space, and freedom to focus entirely on yourself. Living alone offers a rare opportunity to step away from the distractions and obligations of daily life that often keep us from truly connecting with ourselves. It's a chance to ask, who am I, beyond my relationships and responsibilities, and to explore the answers in a way that feels fulfilling and authentic. You no longer have to juggle the needs of others, and this can open up a world of possibilities for self-expression, creativity, and personal fulfillment. It's a time to nurture yourself, to rediscover old passions or pursue new interests, and to cultivate a life that is deeply aligned with who you are today. One woman in her late 60s shared her own story of self-discovery after years of focusing on others. "I spent so much of my life focused on others that I forgot what made me happy. Once I started living alone, I picked up painting again, and it felt like I was reconnecting with a part of myself that had been buried for years." Her words reflect a profound truth that many older adults experience: the realization that, after years of pouring energy into the lives of others, there is a deep, unspoken need to reconnect with the self. Living alone gave her the freedom to explore that part of herself, to rediscover the joy and fulfillment that had long been overshadowed by her other roles. This phase of life can be incredibly liberating because it allows you to prioritize your happiness without feeling guilty or selfish. For so many years, your focus may have been on ensuring that others were happy, cared for, or fulfilled. But now, the focus shifts back to you, and that is not only okay but essential for your personal growth. Living alone provides the space for you to engage in self-care, explore what truly makes you happy, and discover new layers of yourself that may have been hidden beneath the surface for years. Personal growth doesn't stop with age, in fact. It can flourish as you get older, especially when you have the space and time to focus on it. Living alone allows you to take this time for introspection, to set goals that align with your values, and to pursue the activities or experiences that bring you the most joy and satisfaction. Whether it's taking up a new hobby, learning a new skill, or simply spending more time reflecting on your life's journey, this is a time for you to explore all the things that make you feel truly alive. Self-discovery often means reconnecting with parts of yourself that you may have forgotten or pushed aside over the years. Perhaps there was a hobby or passion you loved in your youth that fell by the wayside as life got busier. Or maybe there's something entirely new that you've always wanted to try but never had the time or opportunity to pursue. Living alone creates the perfect space to explore these interests without distractions or interruptions. You can dedicate time each day to doing what makes you happy, to finding joy in the process of learning, creating, or simply being. This is also a time to redefine what success and fulfillment mean to you. After decades of balancing different roles and responsibilities, living alone gives you the chance to ask yourself, what do I want from this next chapter of life? The answer might surprise you. You may find that what fulfills you now is very different from what mattered to you in the past. Living alone allows you to explore these questions deeply, without the need to cater to anyone else's expectations or timelines. Another beautiful aspect of living alone is the opportunity to truly focus on self-care. This goes beyond physical health and extends to emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. When you live alone, you can create a routine that supports your overall well-being, whether that's through meditation, journaling, exercise, or simply taking time each day to relax and recharge. You get to prioritize your own needs in a way that may not have been possible before, and that self-nurturing can lead to profound personal growth. Self-discovery is often a journey of peeling back the layers of who you've become over the years to rediscover the core of who you are. Living alone provides the quiet, undisturbed space to do this. It allows you to reflect on your past, appreciate the experiences that have shaped you, and embrace the person you become. This reflection can bring about a sense of clarity and peace, as well as excitement for the future. There's a sense of freedom in knowing that you can still evolve, learn, and grow, no matter your age. Living alone also fosters a deeper connection with yourself. It gives you the chance to truly listen to your own needs, desires, and dreams without the noise of external demands. You can create a home environment that reflects your personality, your values, and your aspirations. Whether it's through decorating your space to reflect your style or setting up a dedicated area for creative pursuits, living alone gives you the freedom to shape your environment in a way that supports your ongoing journey of self-discovery. If you feel ready to focus on your personal growth and explore who you are beyond the roles you've played in the past, living alone can offer the perfect opportunity to do just that. It's a time to reconnect with yourself, to rediscover your passions, and to create a life that feels authentic to who you are today. You have the freedom to explore new interests, nurture your emotional and mental well-being, and grow in ways that may not have been possible when you were balancing multiple roles and responsibilities. Living alone is more than just a living arrangement. It's an invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery and personal fulfillment that can be deeply rewarding and life-changing. Number 12, you're ready to create your own routine and embrace flexibility. As we get older, the rhythms of our days often become more precious. There's a certain peace and comfort in having a routine that not only suits your lifestyle but also aligns with your natural energy levels, preferences, and desires. Yet, when you're living with others, be it family, a partner, or even roommates, your schedule inevitably becomes intertwined with theirs. Compromises are made, and there's often a silent pressure to conform to a collective rhythm. But when you live alone, that pressure evaporates. You finally have the freedom to create a routine that is entirely your own, one that serves your well-being, nurtures your soul, and allows you to move through life with a sense of ease and contentment. The beauty of living alone is that you no longer have to sync your life with someone else's. You get to decide exactly how you want to spend your time, whether you're someone who thrives in the quiet stillness of early mornings, taking in the sunrise with a peaceful walk, or you're a night owl who loves to stay up late devouring a good book or working on a passion project. Living alone gives you the flexibility to shape your days as you see fit. You're no longer bound by the obligations of other people's schedules or the unspoken pressure to adhere to a routine that doesn't quite fit your flow. It's about embracing the freedom to live according to your internal clock. And that's an incredibly liberating experience. I came across a post from a man in his early 70s who found profound joy in creating his routine after he moved into his place. He described how, for years, he had felt the subtle but persistent pressure to keep up with his family's schedule, meals at specific times, socializing when he didn't feel like it, and constantly adjusting his own needs to match those of his household. Once he started living alone, that all changed. Now that I live alone, he said, I eat when I want, exercise when it feels good, and sleep when I'm tired. It's refreshing to have a routine that's entirely my own. His story is a beautiful reminder of the peace that comes with living in harmony with yourself, free from the external pressures of others' routines and expectations. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 5 below to let me know that you are still here with me. When you live alone, your day unfolds according to your rhythm, and that can bring an extraordinary sense of satisfaction. There's no need to compromise on when you eat or what you eat. No pressure to adjust your exercise routine to fit someone else's timeline, and no obligation to stay up late or get up early just because that's what others prefer. You get to tune in to your own needs, whether it's taking a midday nap, having a spontaneous meal, or spending an entire afternoon doing something that brings you joy. This kind of flexibility can lead to a deeper connection with yourself and a more intuitive way of living, one that feels natural and deeply aligned with who you are. This freedom to create your routine also fosters a sense of independence that can be incredibly empowering. No longer do you have to negotiate your schedule with anyone else. You are in complete control of your time, and that opens up opportunities for spontaneity, rest, creativity, and self-care. If you wake up one day and feel like changing your entire routine, you can. If you want to spend a whole afternoon relaxing, reading, or reflecting, nothing is stopping you. This kind of flexibility not only enhances your day-to-day life, but also supports your overall well-being, both physically and emotionally. Another benefit of living alone is the ability to adapt your routine to your evolving needs. As you get older, your energy levels might fluctuate, or you may develop new interests and priorities. Living alone gives you the freedom to adjust your schedule as needed, without worrying about disrupting someone else's day. Whether it's incorporating more downtime into your routine, picking up a new hobby, or focusing on your health and fitness, living alone allows you to create a lifestyle that evolves with you. If you're someone who finds joy in setting your own pace, living alone can feel like a breath of fresh air. You no longer have to rush through meals, activities, or chores to keep up with someone else's agenda. Instead, you can move through your day with intention, choosing activities that energize you when you feel active, and finding time for rest and reflection when you need to recharge. There's a unique sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing that every decision you make, whether it's about when to wake up, what to do with your day, or how to wind down in the evening, is entirely your own. Living alone also offers a level of mindfulness that's hard to achieve when you're constantly adjusting to the needs of others. You can approach each day with a sense of presence, fully attuned to your own body and mind. You're free to listen to your inner cues, follow the natural flow of your energy, and build a routine that supports your personal growth, creativity, and peace of mind. This is where the magic of flexibility truly lies, in the ability to live each day in a way that feels fulfilling, without the stress of outside demands or compromises. If you're ready to embrace the freedom of creating your routine, living alone may be the perfect way to do it. It's an opportunity to design a life that works for you, to listen to your rhythms, and to enjoy the flexibility that comes from living without the constraints of others' schedules. You get to decide how your days unfold, and in that freedom, you'll likely find a deeper sense of contentment and joy. There's a profound sense of peace in knowing that your time is entirely your own, and that, perhaps more than anything, is what makes living alone such a rewarding experience. As we've explored these powerful signs that you may be ready to live alone, it's clear that this stage of life can be filled with empowerment, self-discovery, and a renewed sense of freedom. From emotional independence to creating your routine, each point is a reminder that living alone can be a deeply fulfilling and transformative experience. Now, we want to hear from you. What have you learned so far? Take a moment to reflect and comment below on one thing you've learned from this video and how you plan to bring it into practice in your own life. Whether it's embracing minimalism, finding emotional resilience, or designing a routine that's entirely your own, we'd love to know how these insights resonate with you. If you like this video, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that inspires and empowers.